Some pains don't make a sound. They just linger, quietly insisting in some corner of the skin, waiting for someone to finally notice. This is how it begins. A subtle discomfort, a movement that no longer flows, a staircase that feels steeper than before. But the hardest part isn't the pain, it's the feeling of being left behind by your own body, as if it, once your shelter, your strength, your drive, had decided to walk away without a word. And there you are, with your whole soul crying out inside. Why now? But what if it's not abandonment? What if it's a request, a gentle call for a new kind of listening? The body speaks softly. It whispers through muscles and silences. And after 50, its tone changes. It doesn't demand. It invites. Like when your knees no longer run, but ask permission before bending, as if to say, take it easy. I'm still here. There's a kind of wisdom in the tiredness you feel. It's not weakness. It's a reminder that maybe you've spent a lifetime caring for everyone, except yourself. And now, the body, that long-forgotten companion, is knocking at your door again, not to scold, but to be heard. You're not alone in this, and you're not behind. But maybe the time for putting things off has passed. Take a deep breath, because today, maybe for the first time in years, you're going to inhabit your body with more tenderness. And if this stirs something inside you too, leave a comment below. I feel it. I'll read it, with care, with presence, the way your body deserves to be read. Now come with me, because this isn't a story about loss. It's about reunion. There's a thought that sometimes shows up in the middle of the night. You're lying there. The house is quiet, and everything seems calm, but something stirs inside your chest. What if one day I can't get up on my own anymore? This sentence is never spoken. It slips through your insides, hiding between the pillow and your heart. Sometimes it comes after a fall that almost happened, or when you try to open a jar and can't, or when you need to carry a bag but don't want to ask for help. You don't want to seem fragile. You don't want to hear that tone of pity. You don't want to see the way someone's gaze shifts, as if you're no longer quite the same. There's something inside us that learned too early that dignity means doing everything alone, and that to depend is to lose who we are. But whoever taught that was wrong. Autonomy is precious, yes, but it shouldn't cost your peace. You are not any less whole just because you feel more tired today. You're not any less of a woman because you need help opening a window, or because your arm can't reach the top shelf. You are whole, even when you need support, especially when you have the courage to accept that support without shame. The body is changing, yes, but it's not turning against you. It's just asking for a new kind of presence. Maybe you don't need to prove anything anymore. Maybe now is the time to care, not to compete. When we stop resisting time and start listening to what it's trying to teach us, a different kind of freedom appears. One that doesn't rush, but walks beside us, without pressure, without haste, without fear of being seen. There comes a moment when the body no longer runs, but that doesn't mean it has stopped. It simply means the music has changed. Back then, life was full of urgency. Everything had to be done, solved, delivered. It was like a frantic dance where stopping felt forbidden. But now the pace is different, and dancing in this new rhythm takes listening. It takes courage. Not to go back to what's past, but to discover what still beats in the present. The body doesn't want speed anymore. It wants presence. It wants you to feel the ground beneath your feet, not rush over it. It wants you to breathe the moment, not just survive the day. I realized this in a simple act. I started making tea in the late afternoon. That's it. Just waiting for the water to boil, feeling the warmth of the cup, listening to the sound of liquid pouring. And I noticed my body calming down. I started picking slower songs, dipping my feet in water before a shower, sitting down for 5 minutes without touching my phone. And in those little pauses, my body started trusting me again. It stopped shouting because I started listening. Maybe life doesn't need grand achievements anymore. Maybe the new luxury is slowness, silence, touch with intention, a warm cup in your hands, A breath taken with ease. The music hasn't stopped. It's just changed key. And if you listen with your heart, you can still dance. Some homes age with dignity. They creak, yes. They need upkeep, yes. But anyone who walks in can feel there's soul inside. The body after 50 is just like that. It doesn't need to become what it once was. It needs to be seen with the respect of someone who knows. This is where I've lived my whole life. For a long time, I treated my body as a place of demand. I wanted it to endure, to handle everything. I wanted it to never fail me. But one day, something shifted. It was an ordinary night. I was putting lotion on my hands before bed. Not in a rush, not out of obligation. Just with presence. And in that touch, something melted inside me. It was as if, for the first time in ages, I had stopped demanding and started caring. As if, in massaging my skin, I was silently saying, "Sorry for ignoring you so much." Respecting the body isn't about appearance. It's about connection. It's realizing this skin has held back tears, has wrapped around hugs, has carried weights no one else saw. It's understanding that the marks are memories. The folds are shelter. The silences of the body also speak. And that simple care, conscious touch, a slow shower, the act of dressing with intention, are ways of saying, I'm still here, and so are you. The body doesn't need speed. It needs presence, just like an old home, which, even with its cracks, is still full of life. Some days, the body aches for no clear reason, but deep down, you know it's not just physical. It's as if it carries unspoken words, swallowed fears, desires tucked away for far too long. Living disconnected from your body is like walking beside someone wounded and pretending they're fine. It's smiling with your mouth while your shoulders scream with tension. It's saying everything's okay when your knees barely hold you up. And so we go on, pushing through, ignoring, getting used to the absence. But there comes a moment when the body stops, not out of weakness, but from the exhaustion of not being heard. It was when I saw myself like that, sitting, tired, empty, that something hit me. What if I started speaking to my body again, like reconnecting with an old friend? I started slowly, just closing my eyes and asking, what do you need today? Sometimes the answer came as an image, sometimes as a memory, sometimes just a silence that made me cry. The body holds stories the mind has forgotten. It remembers what you endured, what you postponed, what you tried to bury. And when you begin to listen to it, gently, without judgment, something starts to realign inside. It's not a miracle, it's reconnection. A small act of care can become a bridge between what you feel and what you live. A moment of listening can be more healing than any immediate answer. The body doesn't want to be perfect. It wants to be seen, wants to be welcomed, wants to be a home, not a battlefield. And sometimes, all it needs is a yes, I hear you, whispered in silence. Some days, sitting down for a few minutes feels like failure. Asking for help feels like weakness. Admitting you're tired sounds like giving up. But what if all of that is actually a sign of maturity? We grew up hearing that dignity is in endurance, pushing through, managing everything without ever needing anyone. But no one told us there's another kind of dignity, calmer, truer, more whole. The dignity of stopping without guilt, of resting without explanation, of accepting an outstretched hand without shame. It was only when I stopped fighting myself that I started hearing what truly mattered. I remember a day when, in the middle of the usual rush, I decided to sit. It was noon. The sun was hitting the kitchen window. The kettle hadn't boiled yet, and I just sat, not to solve anything, not to think about anything. I just sat. And there, in that suspended moment, I heard the wind through the window, a sound I hadn't noticed in years. It wasn't my body that was failing. It was me who had forgotten how to be present. There is beauty in no longer rushing. There is strength in accepting that time has changed, and that being here, whole, even if slower, is more powerful than pretending nothing has changed. You don't have to be the strongest, or the fastest, or the one who never gives in. You just have to be here. With the body you have, with the story you carry, with the silence you're finally beginning to honor. For a long time, maybe you saw your body as a problem, something to be fixed, controlled, hidden, as if it were a weight that only grows heavier with age. But what if, instead of a burden, it was a witness? A book made of flesh and bone, where time has written patiently every detail of your story, every mark on your skin, every line on your face, every point of pain is a sentence lived. The body doesn't forget, it holds. And what it holds isn't just pain, it's memory, it's survival, it's love lived in silence. It bent when you lost someone, tensed when you had to be strong, closed in when the world demanded too much. But it stayed. Even when you didn't listen, even when you ignored it because you were too busy, it stayed. And now, all it asks is that you don't leave it too. No grand gestures needed. Sometimes, just a pause will do. A kinder glance in the mirror. 5 minutes of silence to say thank you. To the feet that still carry you. The hands that still embrace. The eyes that still see what matters. The body doesn't want to be what it was. It wants to be accepted as it is, with its marks, its limits, and the beauty of someone who has lived deeply and still feels. You can still live well, even if more slowly, with more intention, with more truth, because in the end, the body isn't giving up on you. It's calling you back home. And maybe this is the start of a new season, quieter, deeper, more yours. If this touched you in any way, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you and see you in the next video.